How's it going, everybody? It's Bitman TV here. Firstly, could you like and subscribe to my channel? That'd be so kind of you. I'm doing a review. As you know, I do week in and week out, so like and subscribe of Raw and Smackdown week commencing the 23rd of January, Royal Rumble week. So it starts off, it's the 30th anniversary of Raw. Starts with Hulk Hogan coming out doing his usual spiel. His mic kept cutting out as well. I don't know what was going on with that, but yeah, Hulk Hogan came out, and then they showed like Raw highlights over the last 30 years. Started off in the Attitude Era, well, before the Attitude Era, then the Attitude Era, a Ruthless Aggression Era, PG Era, showing the different things that's been happening. Then the Bloodline comes out. While the Bloodline comes out, Sami Zayn is noticeably not jumping around. It's not as energetic, and it turns out they're holding a tribal court where Paul Heyman has produced some evidence thinking that Sami Zayn is not loyal. There's some dissension amongst the ranks. And then out of nowhere, Jay actually sticks up for Sami Zayn. And he posts things in his defense to what Paul Heyman's produced. And basically he's saying he's got Sami Zayn's back. And yeah. And basically, it was down to Roman to decide whether Sami Zayn is guilty or innocent. And then Roman says he's innocent. But Roman does say also, at the Royal Rumble, we will see where your loyalty lies. And he said to Sami not to turn up on any shows before Royal Rumble. So we'll see. Then the first match we had straight into Judgment Day versus the Usos for the Tag Team Championship of the World. It seems like in the match, really good match with what was happening, but I'm not sure if this was scripted in or not, or part of the act or what. But Jimmy's ankle seemed to be injured, so he couldn't do anything. So then Sami Zayn took over the match, and Sami Zayn actually won the match and defended the titles with Roman Reigns watching in the back. So that's pretty good. Then you had Corbin and JBL wanting to enter a poker game, which they ran into the Godfather. You know who that is. Then the Godfather needed to certify whether JBL and Corbin could go into the party, so he had to knock on the door of the APA, and then Farouk was there, and obviously they took out money, and Farouk said he can go in. Then there was more raw memorable highlights that's happened in the past. Then we had LA Knight come out and basically call out any legend who wants a bit of LA Knight to come out. And who did we get? We got rolling, the American Undertaker. I don't want to use profanity in case, I don't know, this video gets taken down. Yeah, so the American Undertaker came down in his bike, basically just was about to choke slam LA Knight, when Bray Wyatt came down, and basically Undertaker just fed LA Knight to Bray Wyatt. So that was that. And Undertaker said something to him, so I'm not sure. Then there was more poker with DDP there, and he seemed to be winning. So good shout out to DDP. Then we had Becky versus Bayley in a cage match, which didn't really get underway because Damage Control just jumped all over Becky, and that was it really. Then D-Generation X come out, bar Billy Gunn, obviously he's in AEW, with Kurt Angle, which was quite weird. And then basically Imperium come out, and they're standing across to DX, and DX like, hey, I ain't getting involved because I'm retired. Nobody wants to fight. So then what happens is Teddy Long comes out. No, Seth Rollins comes out, in fact, and the Street Profits come out. And then Teddy Long, player, holla holla, comes out and makes the match. So then it's Seth Rollins and the Street Profits versus the Imperium. Really good match. Go and watch. I haven't seen it, but the Seth wins, which was a good match. Then you got Corbin in the back playing poker, but he beat the $1 Million Man. He won all this money. Then the IRS turned up and said, we want all of that money. So it wasn't too good for him. Then we had Bobby Lashley basically said he's ready for Theory in the back. Then MVP turns up and says, what's going on, player? But Bobby said he doesn't need any help, so leave him to it. And then MVP's like, all right, cool, we'll see. Then Ric Flair turns out, woo, the 16-time former world champion. He turns up and then basically presents Charlotte Flair to the world as the 14-time women's champion. She basically comes out, she says Raw is always her show, but she's on SmackDown. Bianca Belair came up, took a little bit of offense at saying, this ain't your show, love. This is my show, the EST show. I was just saying that Sonya Deville comes out and just wants all the smoke. So we had Sonya Deville versus Bianca, and Bianca basically emphatically beat Sonya Deville. After the match, Bianca calls out Alexa. Alexa comes and basically says she's coming for Bianca. So watch what you wish for. Is it watch what you wish for? I think that is it. Then we had Cody Rhodes. Obviously, he's showing his training, showing his back to full health. His bicep tear or bicep injury is now recovered. He's fully recovered now, and it's basically saying he's going to be back at the Royal Rumble, so bite. Then we had The Miz, basically comes into the ring saying he wants to spect, and he just got a stun by KO, and that was that. Then we had in the main event of the evening, we had Theory versus Bobby Lashley for the US title in a no disqualification match. Fact of the story is, Bobby Lashley was closing in, putting Theory through tables, there was chairs. Bobby Lashley was closing in on Theory, and then the music hit. Brock Lesnar comes out, F5's Theory, F5's Bobby Lashley, and Theory defends his title thanks to Brock Lesnar. So that's that. So then we have SmackDown. Bloodline turn up in the in the trucks. Sami didn't turn up with the Bloodline, but he was like in a trailer hiding because Roman said to him not to be on SmackDown. But Roman wasn't there, it was just the rest of them. Then the first match we had with Rey Mysterio versus Karrion Kross in a really good match, exciting match. Go and watch, I haven't seen it, but Rey Mysterio wins. Then Theory comes out, basically takes the mick out of John Cena, saying the champ is here. I have a theory, it's not no pun intended, that at WrestleMania they're going to do Austin Theory versus John Cena at WrestleMania. But anyway, then a new day came out talking about Royal Rumble, who's going to win it. Then The Miz came out talking about Royal Rumble and how he's going to win it, and he doesn't get no respect. And then Bobby Lashley basically comes out and flattens everybody. And then as Bobby Lashley's in the ring saying, Brock Lesnar, I'm going to get you. Brock Lesnar turns up and F5's Bobby Lashley. So that was crazy. Then we had Rhea Ripley saying she'll be in the Women's Royal Rumble. I'm very confident she's going to win. I don't see anyone beating her. Raquel Rodriguez, and that's about it. Then we had Lacey Evans come out. I mean, how many times have they repackaged Lacey Evans where she was a face, then she's a heel, then she's a heel, then she's a face, then she's a heel? I'm not sure. There's been a lot of repackaging going on. But anyway, it was her versus some chick. Lacey Evans won. But I want to say one thing. I've said this previously in my videos. Go back and watch. Lacey Evans is absolutely gold on the mic. She is money on the mic. So I think she's brilliant on the mic. So I think she's got a bright future as long as she just stays consistent. Then we had Drew and Sheamus, the Bang Brothers. That sounded a bit weird. So they're ready for their match at Royal Rumble. And then they started slapping each other, which is quite funny. Then, obviously, they do the replay of the Cody's coming back to Royal Rumble video. So then we had Drew versus, well, it's meant to be Drew and Sheamus versus Hit Row for the semi-finals of the tag team tournament for who's going to face the SmackDown champions. And then the Viking Raiders is basically took out Shay and Sheamus and Drew. So they had to be replaced by Ricochet and Braun. So then you had Ricochet and Braun versus Hit Row. And yeah, Braun won. So Ricochet and Braun are now into the semi-finals for the tag team championships. Then we had KO said he's ready for the Bloodline. Then he was talking in the back, and then the Usos turned up and it turned into a massive argument, but they got separated. Then the Usos walking out and Jay calls somebody and he goes, "Dog, I need a favour. Yeet." Didn't say a name, but we think we know who he's referring to. Then we had the LA Knight coming out basically dressed as Bray Wyatt and mocking him. And then Bray turns up and he goes, "Listen, you're going to meet the guy you keep calling for at a pitch black match." So see what happens there. Then we had Phantasma versus Imperium in a really good match, but Imperium won to advance in the tag team tournament. Then we had Charlotte Flair was doing an interview for some station online on YouTube, and then basically Sonya Deville jumped in and started interrupting her interview. So they're going to do Charlotte Flair versus Sonya Deville for the title next week on SmackDown, or this week. Then in the main event of the evening, it was Solo versus KO in a really good match. but Sami turned up, even though he wasn't meant to turn up to help Solo win the match. But then it just went crazy, and then chairs were being flung, everything was going crazy, and then it was a DQ, nothing really happened, and then KO basically clears house. So yeah, so that was your review of Raw and SmackDown in under 10 minutes, just 10 minutes just now. So if you could like and subscribe my channel, that'd be so kind of you. Take care.